You're listening to WealthTech on Deck, a podcast about the future of wealth management technology, brought to you by LifeYield. Here's your host, Jack Sherry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to WealthTech on Deck. I'm Jack Sherry, CMO at LifeYield, and I'll be your host for the show. We'll have frequent appearances from my friend and colleague, Matt Nolman. So, Matt, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, everyone. Thanks, Jack. As Jack said, my name's Matt Nolman. I'm the VP of Marketing here at LifeYield, and I'll be here to produce the show and talk about digital marketing trends, strategies, and best practices in financial services. So as the producer, we welcome any feedback as we go, so feel free to reach out to me at matt@lifeyield.com if you have any feedback or just want to chat. But before we dive into the show, Jack, why don't we back up a little, tell us a little bit about LifeYield and why we started this podcast in the first place.
Sure thing. So as you well know, and hopefully many in our audience know, we're a Boston-based wealth technology company. We've spent the last 10 years bringing household-level wealth management to the largest financial services firms in the world. We focus on improving tax efficiency, maximizing Social Security, and improving investor and advisor outcomes. We also help advisors and firms transition to a full retirement income planning conversation. I have the good fortune of talking to senior executives in the financial services business every single day. Now we're going to have those conversations on our podcast. We're using these conversations as a way to understand the growing pains of companies looking to build wealth tech platforms that will last for decades. And through these conversations, we've become strategic partners for companies looking to implement the wealth tech of the future. And that's why we started this podcast, and we're so glad you will be joining us to share everything we've come to learn about wealth tech and the future of the advisor-client experience.
We created this podcast specifically for anyone who classifies themselves as a wealth tech innovator, for financial services executives, for fintech product leaders looking to build the wealth tech platforms of the future, and for financial advisors who really just want to stay ahead of the wealth tech game. One thing we promise about this show is to keep it short, sweet, and valuable. So each episode will be less than 30 minutes, which is long enough to give our busy audience more time back in their day. We're launching the show in March of 2021. You can get more info at lifeyield.com/podcast, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this episode of WealthTech on Deck, our ongoing conversation about improving financial outcomes for all. This podcast is brought to you by LifeYield and produced by Reverb. Subscribe to future episodes in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can connect with our host, Jack Sherry, on LinkedIn and Twitter. And for more information about our perspective on the future of financial advice, visit our website at lifeyield.com.